Welcome to episode 8 of our 6th series on the origins of Appalachian and Southern families and their surnames. Today's investigation will take us to the Swiss-German region of the Western Alps, the plains of northern Germany, the uplands of Scotland, and the fertile lands of 17th century England, as well as the rolling green hills of Ireland. In doing these things, we'll catch a glimpse of the origins of Appalachian and Southern culture, as well as honor those who gave us life and liberty. Promises to be an interesting show, so hope you'll join me. Number 1, Bratcher. This long-established surname could be Swiss German or English. Before you think that this is an example of a Heinz 57 name all mixed up, keep in mind that at the root of both Swiss German and English is the West German language group. So, they are themselves cultural cousins to each other as well as to the Dutch. I have a special place in my heart for Switzerland, and it's not because of the ton of Swiss chocolate and fondue that I've eaten over the past decade and a half. If you're interested in knowing why I love Switzerland, take a look at the link I provided in the description. At any rate, if your line traces to Switzerland, it was spelled Bratcher, that's B-R-E-T-S-C-H-E-R, and it was given to a person who cut planks, so he was a woodworker. If it's English, it means dweller by or on a piece of cultivated land. In either case, both are occupational names. You might note that I didn't find Bratcher among the traditional families of Ireland, Scotland, or Wales. I have to admit, Bratcher is one of the most challenging families I've researched. It's as if crossing the Atlantic and then the Appalachian Mountains created a sense of disconnect from their origins. Sadly, that's true for many folks in southern Appalachia and the South in general. Apparently, eking out a subsistence living from their newly acquired lands was more important than recalling their families and communities that they left behind. Their chances of going back across the Atlantic were pretty slim to none. Only the wealthy could do that. If you were poor and a farmer, you weren't going to get there. Here's what I found in looking for the earliest southern line of Bratcher. There are plenty of records of Bratcher folk alive in the late 1700s in South Carolina and early 1800s in Kentucky and Tennessee. Given the lack of records connecting these various branches, I'm left to using historic and geographic patterns to theorize that they share a common origin that traces from Kentucky and Tennessee to South Carolina and then to Henrico County, Virginia, where William Bratcher Sr. was born to unknown parents in 1726. Of course, they were known to each other, but not to us. Some researchers contend that he was the father of another William Bratcher who was born in South Carolina in 1741. But because the would-be father would have only been 15 years old, I'm not 100% convinced that he was the dad. At any rate, William Sr. then moved to Maury County, Tennessee, where he lived out his life. Before leaving South Carolina for Grayson County, Kentucky, William Jr. and a South Carolina-born Margaret Putt had a son named William, presumably the third. Now, William III and Elizabeth Avery, his better half, left South Carolina and settled in Grayson County, Kentucky, where they lived the rest of their fertile lives. They had a bunch of kids. Given the geographic patterns and linguistic roots associated with the family name, I'm 100% confident that Bratcher is a colonial Southern and Appalachian family. I'm only about 80% convinced that they came from England, so your line could lead you to Switzerland. Number 2, Prather. It's interesting how adding or subtracting a letter from a name can mess up a family's ability to track its ancestry. Prather is such a case. As it's spelled, it doesn't appear in any of my reputable European publications in my library. An online source, though, claims that it's a form of the Norman surname Prather, which was given to a Latin presbyter or priest. That led me to search out a paper trail to see where it would lead me. What I found was pretty clear and straightforward. Prather became Prather, just like the online source said. I'm just not sure on which side of the ocean that spelling change occurred. It started with Thomas Prather and Margaret Quinton. They formed a happy little couple of Wiltshire, England. Sadly, they both passed away in their hometown in 1628. That was just 3 years into the reign of Charles I, the son of King James of the Bible fame. Their son, Thomas, was born in Wiltshire, England in 1604, and at some point in his life, he added the H to make his name Prather. Also, sometime in the 1620s, he migrated to Virginia. Not long after arriving in the New World, he married a lass named Mary Powell in 1627, and together they had 6 sons born between 1627 and 1641. Man, I wish all my research was this cut and dried. I'm confident that Prather is a colonial form of Prather with deep roots in England and Normandy, France. Number 3, rust. Contrary to the beliefs of some folks, the Rust Belt was not named for a rather rotund member of the Rust family. This Anglo-Saxon surname has deeper Teutonic roots, and as such is forms of the name that stretch from Denmark to Switzerland and into England and Scotland, where it came to be associated with the shortened monosyllabic, let me rephrase that, monosyllabized form of russet, which was given to a ruddy complexioned or red brownish haired person. I wasn't able to locate it among the traditional surnames of Ireland or Wales. Still, I couldn't believe it when I was able to trace a Kentucky family to Virginia and then to Suffolk, England. You might note that there were other early Rust families in colonial New England too, but they weren't as early as the line that gave us the Kentucky folks. It all started with the birth of William Rust in Suffolk, England. He immigrated to Westmoreland, Virginia, where he married a locally born girl named Anne Metcalf. Their triple great-grandson, John Rust, started the Kentucky branch of the family. As with Prather, I'm confident that Rust is a colonial American family of English descent. But be sure to check your paper trail to see if your line leads to England, Scotland, Germany, or Switzerland. Numero 4, or 4 in English, Weldon. My cup runneth over today, folks. Weldon is a habitational or toponymic name derived from a place in Northamptonshire, England. But wait, there's more. It originally referred to a hill with a stream or well on it. So there must be a hill or a spring, I should say there should be a hill with a spring or well on it somewhere in the city of Weldon, England. While I wasn't able to locate the surname among the traditional families of Scotland or Wales, it's been in Ireland since the 1300s. That's long enough for it to have an Irish Gaelic form of the name. Now, you might note that despite being a Guadelic language, Irish, and related to 2 other insular Celtic languages, Scottish and Manx Gaelic, many Irish simply leave off the Gaelic adjective. It's as if Irish is a linguistic island of its own, like Ireland itself, I suppose. That leads me to ask, from where did the earliest Weldon family in the South or Appalachia originate? The Jamestown-Yorktown Foundation tells us that Captain William Weldon was sent by the Virginia Company to Jamestown in 1619 to supervise a construction crew of 50 men. Their task was to build a school that was chartered as the College of William and Mary in 1693 by King William and Queen Mary of England. Interesting couple there, folks. Would you believe if they weren't from Arkansas and they were first cousins? Anyway, sources state that he was born in Northamptonshire, England in 1597 and died in Virginia, the Virginia colony in 1646 with no known heirs. In truth, the College of William and Mary states that Captain Weldon returned to England and was prosecuted for mismanaging the funds allocated to build the college. So I think we need to look elsewhere for the earliest line of Weldon. The earliest line of Weldon folk that I could find in the South started with the birth of Jonathan Weldon Sr. in 1732. He married Elizabeth Hanks, who was perhaps a relative of Abraham Lincoln and Tom Hanks. Of their 7 children, 4 remained in Virginia while the other 3 moved to one of 3 places. The upstate of South Carolina, which is considered Appalachia, Georgia, northern Georgia is Appalachia, or Alabama, northern Alabama is Appalachia, and it's also in the South. You might note that I found quite a few records of Weldon families in Ireland, so I'm not fully confident that Jonathan's family was English. I am, however, confident that Weldon is a colonial Appalachian and Southern family. Well, that's about all I have for you today, folks. I hope you got something meaningful out of the discussion. If you'd like a free catalog of the surnames that I've covered through all 5 seasons, write to me at vantagepoint22@gmail.com and I'll send it to you as an attachment. If the demand warrants, I'll return with another episode in a few days. In the meantime, God bless you and yours. Bye-bye.